All right, welcome back to another episode of Saturday Standouts. I'm Ethan Carboni. My co-host Christian McGowan is not here yet, but he will be here soon. He's dealing with some Wi-Fi difficulties. Tonight we are going over the Pac-12 conference. We're doing the same thing I did last week with Ben and Garrett from Iowa. We're having a lot of fun. We're going to do the over-unders. We're using the same site. We are using CBS NCAA football. Here's my co-host Christian McGowan. How are you, Christian?
Doing good, man. I apologize. The Wi-Fi here was a little bit suspect, but I got it handled out. I appreciate you putting my man Reggie Bush, hashtag free Reggie Bush, give him his Heisman back. And thank you for having me on here, man. Good to be with you.
All right. You want to do the sponsors for us?
So, yeah, we got two amazing sponsors. The first one is one that's close to my heart, my new brother-in-law. That's actually his company, RX Hemp. Use code RXHemp-USN at checkout to save, I want to say it's 25% on your entire order. And that's on top of any other discounts that they're offering on their great and amazing website because they do deals all throughout the year. And RX Hemp is a CBD, not a THC cream. It's CBD. It's all the things that don't get you high. And it's for, like sore muscles, aching joints. A lot of us like me getting back into the gym after COVID, I'm getting a lot of soreness. And even though as a D1 athlete, I haven't been in the gym like I've been, in previous years. So that's been really good, helping me out. Also, too, a lot of golfers. I suck ass at golf. So every day that I'm, chunking away at the ball, I like to put some on my back. I can speak by that one 100%. That is my favorite product that I use to date. And then our other sponsors is MyBookie. Use code USN. I want to say it's USN10 at MyBookie to double your first deposit. I want to say it's up to $500 as well. MyBookie.ag is the website name, so make sure to go on there and put it's actually just code USN at checkout to double your first deposit. It is one of the best bookies that I've used. Obviously, all bookies are the same. You bet some money, you lose some money, but MyBookie is really good about throwing in, little $10 free plays, little competitions here and there throughout the year to kind of help you get back on your feet if you're having a down year, or, kind of get some free play to bet on like women's tennis or something you've never do before. So MyBookie.ag, make sure to give them a follow. And unless you picked up a new sponsor, Ethan, I think we're good to go.
Yep, we are. All right, let's just start right into it. First team on this list, Arizona, the Wildcats. Christian, I know it's your favorite team in the Pac-12. Not really. Over-under set at 2.5 wins. Want me to go over their schedule? Looking at it really quick.
Yeah, let's pull it up here, and we'll do like a quick one. Every team kind of do win-loss.
All right, BYU.
Loss.
San Diego State. Loss.
I think that could be a win for them.
It could. Northern Arizona. That's a win.
Win.
All right, you got one win out of the total. Arizona, Oregon.
Loss.
Oregon should. Yep.
Destroy them.
UCLA.
Is it at UCLA or is it at Arizona?
They're Arizona Stadium.
Ooh, I'm going to go with UCLA, but that's a close one for me.
Yep. Colorado, the Buffalo.
Ooh, that's a hard one. I'm still give them a loss, but they could easily be like a 4-win team here. This is a good bet right here.
Washington.
Loss.
USC. Back up full win by halftime. And then you got Cal. I'll give them Cal. I'd call that a win.
Is it at? I'll go with you on Cal. Let's do Cal. Well, tell me where they're at as well.
Well, that one's at Arizona. Okay.
Utah's going to win for sure.
Yeah. And then you got Arizona's Washington State.
That one's going to be a hard one, but I would still go Washington State on that one.
Yep. And then you got Arizona State, which should be an easy L. Just looking at that schedule, you have the possibility for 1 win to 5 wins. It's a toss-up. I'm personally taking the under here because I don't trust the Wildcats, although I think that I want to see what our lads has true freshman Will Plummer as their projected starter, and then I want to see what Stanley Berryhill III, their number 1 or 2 wide receiver, can do since, I don't know, he's just a player I like this year a lot. Any players that you like on this roster, Christian?
On Arizona's, no. I'll be real with you. The last player that left anything to be desired on Arizona's roster probably has to be Khalil Tate. the quarterback / athlete they had a couple years ago. He really was the lifeblood of their program. He kind of gave USC fits too because he was like near LA and like wasn't recruited by SC, so always kind of had a chip on his shoulder. But no one that I can think of off of the top of the hat. What I am more excited about is Arizona and Arizona State too, to a lesser extent. They're huge junior college guys. They're very big in like the transfer junior college world. So I'm really excited to see some of those JUCO transfers can come in there and make some noise. In terms of the bet, I would go over 2.5 just because going through their season, like you said, the potential at 5 wins to 1. Maybe Northern Arizona is their only win. Maybe they beat Cal and actually lose to Northern Arizona. Maybe they're a 1 or 2 win team. That's definitely a possibility. But going over those games and how kind of the Pac-12 can check out. The games are super late at night. Sometimes you fall 1 to a team you should have beat. I would go with the over on that bet if I'm putting my money on it.
All right, you want to hop right into Arizona State?
Let's do it, buddy.
All right, let's just looking at this website. Very, very interesting one with 9 wins, over under.
Ooh, I'm putting under off the bat.
All right. Well, I'm taking a deep dive into this team. We're going to look at the roster first. Key players for me, at least, obviously the junior Jaden Daniels. If he has a good year, he's a top 5 pick. If he has a bad year, it's the next flop of a quarterback from the Pac-12, which they are known for.
That's interesting. Because as you know, Perry is a huge Arizona State fan. He went there for like a year and a half. So he loves the Sun Devils more than anything other than his Dallas Cowboys. And he's been in my ear all year about Jaden McDaniels or Jaden
Daniels. Just Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels. And I do a lot of mock drafts. That's kind of my specialty. And I've seen him, like you said, mocked into the top 5. I personally don't see it. I think next year's draft class could actually have 6 first-round quarterbacks, for last year's 5, and everyone didn't think it could happen. I do think there is 6 legitimate guys that could be first-round picks. Daniels is not one of them for me. If he has a great year, just like any quarterback who's a draftable age next year, could he be a top pick? 100%. But if we're going on any bets today, it's going to be that Daniels is not only not a top 5 pick, but not a first-round pick, in my opinion. But of their entire roster, I do think he is the one that gives, it leaves the most, has the highest expectations, and it has the highest ceiling.
All right. See, another player I really do like on this team, I'm going to go with Jack Jones, the grad transfer corner at Arizona State. Last year, didn't have the best year. COVID affected it. 2019, though. 46 total tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 3 picks. That's a very solid corner right there, and Arizona State's going to rely on him heavily to shut down some of the top weapons in the Pac-12.
Where's he transferring into? Just wondering.
Oh, he just transferred to Arizona State. He was there last year. He transferred there a while ago, I believe.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, the Pac-12, the Pac-12 is one of the leagues that plays defense. The SEC, the Big Ten, they all play defense. The SEC and the ACC, depending on the team, like Miami, they're the ones who really, or Clemson, they bring the house on the defensive side of the ball. But I would be surprised, outside of Pat Tillman and Vontez Burfict, that piece of shit. I can't name you any Arizona State defensive players that really, kind of stand out to mind. So I think that'd be a very refreshing change of pace for Arizona State to have a Warhawk on the other side of the ball.
Agreed. And then just looking at their schedule, week 1 starting off with a should-be easy win, Southern Utah. All right.
Southern Utah team I actually got to play against during college, and it was funny. One of my best friends growing up that I played high school ball with actually went to Southern Utah, and we got to play against each other. But let me say this right now. No way Southern Utah is getting a win against them. No way.
It'd be funny just so we could rub it in Perry's face, though.
It's just like the Dallas Cowboys. I'd love to see them lose to Clemson if they played against them, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah. UNLV, Arizona State, easy win again. UNLV has a solid group of 5 team, but that solid group of 5 team gets you 7-8 wins in a bowl game. That's not a solid big Power 5 team. Next up, BYU, Arizona State. Losing Zach Wilson's going to hurt them. Yes, their new quarterback's decent, but come on. Jaden Daniels, we don't think he's that special. He still is special enough to be top 15 quarterback in college.
I mean, no disrespect to Zach Wilson. Even if Zach Wilson was still on that roster, I don't think even that gets it done against Arizona State this year. And that's with Zach Wilson being a number 2 overall pick. It's just BYU's roster outside of him is just, in my opinion. Every now and again they'll get a like a bigger name player, but I just don't see it with this roster.
All right, so that's 3 wins right there. Colorado, what do you see? I see a win personally, but
I see a win. It's like I said before, I'm really going to have to think hard about the team they drop one to, because Arizona State, for better or worse, they got a big head. They're probably going to drop one they wouldn't expect to.
Yeah, that's the next game for me. I think UCLA with DTR at quarterback. He's going to need to pull the former 5-star that can't do anything. Oh, my God.
That's a hard one, too, because UCLA is not one of my favorite teams this year in the Pac-12.
Well, they're not anyone's favorite team this year in the Pac-12.
Yeah, you know what? Let's do this. 5-0 for Arizona State to start. Let's get their head really, really big, because they're going to drop 3 in a row. I'm feeling it.
Really? You think that they're going to lose to Stanford?
I could see it. Shot of all the coaches we've talked about.
All right, so your record's 5. I have them 6-0 at this point. You have them 5-1. Next game against Utah, I have them 7-0. Do you have them 5-2?
This is where the slide starts, 5-2, because Utah is going to bring the defense.
Next up, you got Washington State.
They're going to get a dub against Washington State.
That's what I thought. 8-0.
No more Mike Leach, no problem.
I have them 8-0, and next up, what will be the game of the year for them? USC versus Arizona State. USC should win it. I have them 8-1 at this point. Christian, you have them what? 6-3.
6-3. Yeah, that is a classic Arizona State record for that time of the year.
Yep. Arizona State, Washington. I'll take Arizona State.
I think Arizona State at this point in the year, they're at 3 losses. They should be unranked. Washington might be ranked. Let me do ASU with the upset and go 7.
I'll go Washington here actually. So
that would be a team that they could easily lose to. Washington is a great program.
Exactly. They have a great team this year also, or at least a solid enough. Then you got Arizona State, Oregon State. Oregon State's not good. They don't have many. They're put it like this: their best player just got drafted to the Cowboys. Yeah. So
as an IC fan, though, I can't go against Oregon State because they gave us fits for years under Matt Leinart. They were the thorn in our heel.
Yeah. Then you finally have the Arizona State game. Like we said with Arizona State should easily win this. I got them at a 10-2 record personally at this point. Then
I think 8-4.
I'll take the over.
Okay, I'm going the under just because I got to be a man of my word, and if I'm talking shit to Perry, I got to do it. Give me the under. But you have made a very compelling case. I think they start out the gate extremely hot. They got some cookie cut matchups there in the beginning, but right there around the like Utah, Washington, and then they have. I mean, Arizona's going to be an easy game, but that last game of the year, depending on how it goes, I can see them losing the rivalry game. I mean, how many times has Oregon lost to Oregon State in the Civil War? I mean, it happens. There's a reason why they lose in those games. All
right, moving on to a team that does not have a single player as a projected starter that is younger than a junior. And the Cal Berkeley Golden Bears, the team that Illinois should have beaten a couple years ago in their bowl game. All right, moving into them. So let's just start off with their quarterback. You got Chase Garbers, a redshirt senior. I'm gonna look up his stats for you. I want you to tell me what you think about these stats. All right, so 2 years ago, full season-ish, 131 completions on 215 attempts, 1,772 yards, 14 touchdowns to 3 picks.
Okay, that touchdown to
quarterback. I'll give it to him. That's very solid. Hell, that year they even beat number 23 Oregon.
Okay.
So, obviously, if we were going in, or my bad, this was last year that they beat number 23 Oregon. Even better. So, yeah, Garbers, very solid quarterback. Moving into the defense, someone that they actually have a sophomore here, 2 sophomores. Great. They're adding a little bit of youth to this poor team. Yeah, nah. I like Elijah Hicks, the safety, though.
What do you think about outside linebacker Kui Dang? He's transferring in from Independence Junior College. He's a kind of like a lower name guy, but he's predicted right now to be the starter at outside linebacker. Do you know anything about him?
Kui Dang? No, I do not. How do you spell his name?
Kouny, last name Dang.
Oh, this kid. All right.
Yeah, because I see him right now. I don't know Cal off the top of my head. I'm looking at their top signees from this year, and he's the top of their signees. He's also predicted to be their starting outside linebacker. Now, Cal has big names like Jared Goff and Aaron Rodgers and Marshawn Lynch and my boy Chad Hansen, who has signed on to the Detroit Lions. But, defense, as I said about Arizona State, I can't name you a Cal defender for the life of me. I would like to see junior college bias myself. I'd like to see a JUCO guy kind of hop in there. And he's also I want to say he's a D2 transfer as well. He's from Virginia military, correct?
Looking him up, yeah, I believe so. And then just looking at his stats, he had a hell of a year, 2019, the year that they beat Illinois. 120 tackles, 3 sacks, a fumble recovery. He's a solid overall player. I'll give it to him. Just moving quickly into Cal so we actually can finish this episode. All right, let's just take a little look at their schedule. Starting off with Nevada, that's a loss. I love Nevada this year. I think Nevada is one of the best Group of 5 teams.
Yeah. Carson Strong, the quarterback, he's the real deal.
Yep. Then you got moved right into TCU, Texas Christian, I believe. I don't even know. I just know them as TCU. I'll take Cal.
Really?
TCU's been laughable ever since, their one out of the blue year.
I would still have to go with TCU, man. I mean, they're even. I know what you're talking about. It was that gentleman who went to the Seahawks, and then he got in trouble. That quarterback, he was really, really good, and they had a couple good years with him. But I mean, TCU, they have Jalen Reagor. They still have guys that pop out every now and again. I just still think TCU is going to win. That's just my heart of hearts.
All right, so you got them at 0-2. I have 1-1. Sacramento State.
Easy win.
Yeah. We're just going to move right into Washington the next week.
Loss.
I'm at what? 1-2 and 2, 2 and 3. I have 2 wins. The over/under was 6.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Washington State win. All right, 3 wins for me. I know it's a win for you. Oregon loss. Colorado loss. Oregon State.
I'm gonna go win for Cal and
win
for Oregon State.
Yeah, Arizona win. That's 5. Then you got USC, Stanford, UCLA, your 3 California rivals, and you're falling flat on your face. I got 5 wins, easy under.
Yeah, I agree. You talked about their quarterback being a pretty decent guy at his last stop. That's all great, but I would have to go with you on the under on this. I mean, I'm seeing either an under or a push on this. If it was 5.5, maybe go with the over, but with the 6 over under, it's either a push or a loss. It's not a good bet.
Exactly. Colorado football. Over under. Take a guess. I just want you to guess this really quickly.
I mean, if Arizona's 2.5 wins, it's got to be 4.5.
Wow, you actually were right. Wow. All right, you wanted to go with your depth of knowledge on Colorado football?
Is Benkert still the head coach?
No, it's Carl Dorrell.
I'm happy because the old coach Benkert, he recruited me at San Jose State and then left for Colorado. And I know they had that game against Colorado State, and I want to say it was like the Fiesta Bowl a couple years ago when Colorado was pretty good. Outside of that, he was a nothing coach, so I'm happy to see them fail. Go into their schedule real quick.
Well, before I want to go into their schedule, I just want to give a quick shout out to Brendan Rice. Jerry Rice's son, the starting number 1, like the Z receiver, projected on the Colorado Buffalo team.
Okay, that's a big name. I know Stanford had a Barry Sanders son a couple years ago, so it's cool to see Rice in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, what do you think about that? Should a freshman is he starting because of his name, or what do you think? Do you think he's the type of player that actually has talent? Because I know My opinion, I think he does have the talent. I'm
I
not
think
sure.
I think it's probably a number of things. They're not going to start a guy at Division One unless he's good enough to play, right? Even though these coaches might be, a little bit of hype like we are, they're getting paid to do this. So if this kid is not good and he's starting, people are going to lose their jobs and they're going to, not be able to pay for, their family and stuff. So I think if he is starting, it's at least close enough, But I've taught myself a couple years ago, and I realized, okay, you have like the Mahomes, right, and the Steph Currys, and all these guys who have dads who, played in leagues. Genetics happens for a reason. They pass on these traits to their kids, through genetics. So I'm not surprised at all that he's starting as a true freshman. I'm actually happy, as we discussed before the podcast, I want to see the Pac-12 do well. I'd love to see every team in the Pac-12 hit the over, win all of their non-conference games, lose to USC, obviously, but all do well. And part of that is getting some of these big-name kids. So I'm happy he chose Colorado over an SMU or Houston, which is probably a better school than Colorado for football.
Very true. Their quarterback last year seems to be a backup. 24 completions on 42 attempts, 315 yards, 4-3 touchdown to INT. Not the best quarterback, especially for being a projected starter. I'm just moving right into their schedule. Oh, God, you got Northern Colorado.
Easy.
Should
Easy
be a
luck.
win. They can start it off strong. And then, how do you say flop? How do you spell flop without saying Texas A&M? Because that's who they play.
They're going to get destroyed.
Yeah,
Texas A&M is the real deal.
Texas A&M is going to be the best college football team in Texas next year, followed up by UTSA and then the Longhorns.
Did you say UTSA is the second best team?
Next year, yeah, they have the best quarterback running back duo in the entire group of 5.
Okay, that's interesting.
We can go more into that after the episode, Christian.
Sarkisian at Texas just looks nice. That's just my opinion. Former SC guy too, so.
Yeah. All right, Minnesota, Colorado, Minnesota. Yeah, the 1 and 2 Buffalo at this point. Arizona State.
PJ Fleck is going to destroy Colorado. I don't care who's starting.
Exactly.
What's the next game?
USC, easy win.
Done.
Then you got Arizona. All right, we got 2 wins for Colorado now after Arizona. Because we've already stated in prior that, yeah. All right. Cal, Colorado. Cal gets the win. Oregon, Colorado. Oregon gets the win. Oregon State, Colorado.
I'm going Colorado still.
You're going Colorado still.
Someone's got to be the bottom of the Pac-12 next year. Yeah, it has to be Oregon State.
All right. Then moving right after that, you got UCLA.
See, when you talked about DRT, it kind of got me a little flustered. Now you're in my head, and I'm thinking, okay, is UCLA my sleeper team now? As an SC fan, I hate it because I effing hate UCLA. But Chip Kelly is a good coach, and at some point, I got to feel like he's turning UCLA around. Give me the upset over Colorado.
Ooh. See, I personally still I'll go with the UCLA win also. All right, Colorado's got what now? 3 wins?
Yeah.
All right, Washington, then Utah. I'll keep
Lost.
Lost. All right, we got you at 3 wins, Colorado. I'm taking the under.
Yeah, that's a good under.
All right, next up, you got the Oregon Ducks. Over-under of 9 wins before we even go into their schedule and team. Well, what do you think?
So, as we talked before, Kevon Thibodeau, that's a bad man for Oregon. He is the best defensive player in the country. I know Texas A&M has a nasty D tackle themselves. But he also played out of school that is down the street from me where I grew up, Oaks Christian High School. And it hurts my heart not seeing him on USC. However, I don't think that Oregon's offense is going to be anywhere near powerful enough to keep up with USC next year. Graham Harrell is still USC's offensive coordinator. So as well as Oregon does, they are going to be the number 2 this year behind SC. That's just my initial saying. 9 wins. We got to go through the schedule real quick because I know they're on the same side as USC, I want to say, in the Pac-12. So Let's just go through it real quick. That's a good bet, though. 9 wins.
All right. Yeah, it is. But before we do that, actually, I want to talk about the 2 freshman linebackers that will be starting, Noah Sewell and Justin Flo. I'm not sure if you paid attention to recruiting. That's personally my favorite thing about all sports. Justin Flo was one of the most hyped up recruits going into college. This man looks like he is a mix of Brock Lesnar, Goldberg, John Cena, and Vince Wilfork all into one. If you know WWE. And he's going to start this year, it looks like. He's a bad man. I am excited to see what the hell Flo's going to do for this Oregon team. And that we haven't even touched that offense. Solid offensive line with all juniors starting projected and 1 senior. And then you got Anthony Brown, who's going to start this year. Jay Butterfield, Ty Thompson said that they learned a lot from him. Let's see what Anthony Brown's going to do with this Ducks team.
I don't know how close you follow college football. What do you think about Oregon's starting quarterback transferring to Texas Tech? I've seen a lot of mocks, and they had him potentially going number 1, and then he transfers to Texas Tech. What do you feel about that?
I honestly don't know. I think that was a silly move, but at the same time, he wasn't going to go number 1. He wasn't going to go in the first round, in my opinion.
Ooh.
And going into Texas Tech, that just lowers your draft stock even more.
I agree.
If you do good, they're going to attribute it to the bad Big 12 defense. I don't like Oregon. I don't like Oregon quarterbacks. We've seen what's happened in the past.
Justin Herbert's pretty good, but
I was talking about Mariota, but
I still have hope for Mariota. Maybe he gets a redemption arc like Jameis Winston's about to get with the Saints.
You sound like Bears fans with Trubisky.
You know what? I'm a little bit more optimistic than a lot of people. So you know what? Call me a bleeding heart. It's okay. But
all right. You know what, Mr. Bleeding Heart? Let's already call that Fresno State a win for Oregon. How you feel about that Oregon-Ohio State game, Mr. Bleeding Heart? Who you got the win? The Buckeyes of Ohio or the Web Feet Ducks of Oregon?
So if I'm talking to my brother-in-law, who's a Ohio State homer, I'm saying quack attack all the fucking way, baby. But on the podcast, and if I'm betting my money, it's probably going to be Ohio State. Ryan Day, I have to give him props. I thought everything was going to fall apart when Urban Meyer left, hopefully to SC, and it didn't effing happen. But he's done a great job. Ohio State is a well-oiled machine. And we can talk about this later. Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, all Los Angeles quarterbacks coming from LA high schools. I'm going to go with Oregon State. I'm going to go with Ohio State. I think they get the win over Oregon game 1.
All right, so we both got 1-1. Then you got Stony Brook, easy win. I believe it's a Pennsylvania high school. I wish Ben Hoyt was watching this because all Penn football sucks. Moving on. Arizona, Oregon, Stanford, Oregon, Cal, Oregon, UCLA, Oregon, Colorado, Oregon, Washington, Oregon, Washington State, Oregon, Utah, Oregon State, Oregon. All right, I like the
Washington, UCLA would be the 2 upset alerts on their schedule. Not saying it's going to happen, but those are going to be the 2 games.
Oh, yeah, those are going to be 2 very fun games. But if I'm betting this, if I was a 21-year-old in Las Vegas, I like the over.
Okay.
All right, now we got the Oregon State Beavers. Oh, God.
What's the over-under? Is it 1.5?
4.5.
Ooh, I'm saying under off the bat because I chose them to be my bitch of the Pac-12, but let's go.
Yeah, we both did.
Ooh.
We really got both. Pretty much, this team's gonna be the Ben Hoyt of the Pac-12.
That is embarrassing.
I'm sorry, Ben. I'm taking too many shots at you. All right, looking at this team. God. Tristan Gabia, starting quarterback. Before I even read his stats off to you, what do you think about it?
I know nothing about him. I mean, I don't know every single Pac-12 roster from top to bottom. But Oregon State's roster this year, I mean, I follow the recruiting path like 5 4-stars, some JUCO transfers, some big-time transfers. I can say confidently I have heard no noise out of Oregon State. So educate me, please.
All right. So last year, I'm not going to go over season stats, but I am going to go over the one game that he started, I believe, and that's the win over number 15, Oregon. 23 for 37, 1 touchdown, and 263 yards.
It's all right.
That's a very good all right against an Oregon defense.
Fair.
Sure, he threw 2 interceptions against Cal the game before that, but we don't need to talk about that. Let's just talk about the positives. Oh wait, your number 1 corner left to the Cowboys. Don't worry, his younger brother and last chance you stand out, Rajon Wright, is taking his spot. I interviewed that season's coach, by the way. Shout out NFL Deep Dive with Phil. All right.
Look at you.
Yep. Moving into that Oregon State schedule, starting it off with the Purdue Boilermakers.
Ooh.
For as much as I want to give Purdue crap, Purdue's winning this. They have
winning it?
They have my favorite walk-on of all time at quarterback.
I'm going with Oregon State. As much as I want to say no Ronald Moore, no problem.
But they have David Bell, though, who's a top 5 receiver.
Yeah, but who's that quarterback for Purdue?
Which one? They have 2 that could potentially start. Who do you want to know?
The one that makes me scared for that game.
All right. Well, the only one that's ever won a game that's on the roster is a starting quarterback, Aiden O'Donnell, who led my high school to the Illinois State Championship a couple of years ago.
Okay.
My favorite walk-on of all time.
So you're a tad bit biased, which I see. So I got to go Oregon State.
I'll go
I know
Purdue.
I'm going to give them a lot of losses on this. I got to go Oregon State. It's going to be like an undefeated loss season if I don't.
Right. Hawaii, Oregon State.
Because like I just said, if I'm going to have them losing every game, they got to win 1 or 2. And Purdue, no offense to Purdue, that quarterback may be very, very good. The bottom of the Big 12, there's a big fall off in any division.
The Big 10?
I would just say the bottom of the Pac-12 is probably a little bit better than the bottom of the Big 10. None of the top is better or worse. I just think that those bottom teams are a little bit better. I think Oregon State – is it at Oregon State or Purdue? If it's at Oregon State, that's a win for sure.
Well, it's at Ross-Ade in Indiana.
Okay, so it's a home game for Purdue. It's not going to be close. I still got to go with Oregon State. It's just where my heart lies. It's not based on.
All right. Let's move into the Hawaii game. The Rainbow Warriors of Hawaii against Oregon State's Beavers.
I'm going to go Oregon State 2-0. We're going to fall off a cliff real soon here.
All right, we got 1-1 for me. Then next up, you got the Idaho Vandals. That's worst team to play as in NCAA 14, other than FCS schools.
I thought they were transferring to the FCS. Are they there now?
No, they're D2.
They're D2 now?
Mm-hmm. I believe so.
Wow. Because I remember they were moving to the Big Sky in the FCS. But obviously Oregon State gets a win. 3-0 Oregon State. Wow. I did not think it was like that.
All right, let's rapid this right now. USC, loss. Washington, loss. Washington State, loss. Utah, loss. Cal, loss. Colorado, loss. Stanford, loss. Arizona State, loss. And Oregon, loss.
I can see that.
Under.
What a polarizing season to start 3-0 and then lose out.
Well, that's what happens when you make a weak non-conference schedule and you're already a weak team.
You're fair. Give us Baylor and Texas Tech, baby. I want it.
All right. What do you think? Stanford over under 4.
You say it one more time? 1.4?
No, just 4.
4.
I was going to say 1 as a joke, and I'm like, you know what? That's unrealistic, even for me.
I'm going to go with the under on this. Under or a push?
Really?
Yes, really.
Ooh. See, I'm trying to look up who their quarterback is because I forget his name.
It was Miller's last year, but they drafted him to the Texans. And
Tanner McKee. Tanner
Who?
McKee. Tanner McKee is a true sophomore. I don't know much about him, but from what I have heard from my friend who is a UCLA fan and knows a lot about the Pac-12, McKee is apparently next up for Stanford, and he will lead Stanford to the top of the Pac-12 by senior year.
Wow.
So, you know what? Sure. I'm not sure what else to say. Like, this Stanford team's not the best, for sure.
Right.
Dallin Wade Perry at nose tackle is going to be my favorite player on this defense because obviously, I know Christian probably agrees, defensive line is probably the most fun position when they're good in football.
Oh yeah, I mean it's the most pure position in football. It's the only position, in my opinion, where you could just kind of walk up in a year or two, be very elite at defensive line because it is just pure, it's just rawness. As a former offensive lineman, I could never play defensive line, but those freaks, like talk about like the Jadeveon Clowneys of the world, the Khalil Macks, the Aaron Donalds, you got some effing creatures on the defensive line. I'll say that for sure.
I used to play defensive line back when I was 70 pounds.
I would have loved to play it against you in high school.
I didn't play in high school. I played in 5th grade. Once I stopped gaining weight, I said, you know what? Screw that. I'm done with football. I'll watch with my dad every Sunday.
I don't blame you. It's much more fun watching now. I'll say that. I had a great time, but it's a lot more fun to be a fan now.
As you're drinking your wine.
Hey, I had a great day at work and I didn't have anyone hitting me. That's blessed.
That's his idea of a great day. All right. Starting off, Stanford, Kansas State. Give me Stanford.
Give me Stan. You know what? I love Kansas State. They're one of those forgotten teams in college football. You know, when they had Snyder.
You know why they're forgotten?
Because Bill Snyder's not there?
Because they suck more than the SMU scandal of the 80s.
They're trash. The Little Apple is trash.
Yeah, all right. Starting off conference play right after that, you got USC. Easy win. USC.
Yo, yes.
0-2. Stanford, Vanderbilt. Or my bad, 1-1 at that time. But yeah, Stanford. Vanderbilt's. If Vanderbilt didn't have money, they should be kicked out of the SEC.
I was like to say, why don't you throw UCF in the SEC instead of Vanderbilt? Come on, man.
No. Throw Texas, Oklahoma. Take out Vanderbilt. Take out Mizzou. And then you throw in, I don't know. You can take out Arkansas too at this point. But whatever. We'll talk about the SEC some other time. UCLA, Stanford. You're on UCLA.
UCLA.
All right, you're on UCLA. Sounds good. Oregon, Stanford.
Oregon.
Yep. Stanford, Arizona State.
Give me ASU.
Yeah. Washington State versus Stanford. Stanford. Washington, Stanford. Washington, Utah, Stanford. Utah. Oregon State, Stanford. Stanford. Cal, Stanford. Stanford.
I'm taking Cal on that one because I think I said Cal earlier.
All right. I think I have them at 3 or 4 wins. So, all right. Next up, Notre Dame, Stanford. The biggest game of the year for Stanford. And Jack Cohn will be out of the game by the end of the first quarter as Notre Dame is up 30 points. Easy loss.
Are you really that high on Notre Dame this year? I haven't. I know.
No, I'm not that high on them. This is Stanford this year versus
I'm just wondering how you talk about Notre Dame. I still think they win.
I know. I think that they're a great team. I think they're a top 10 team. I just don't think that they're the top 5 team.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what? We're not the only ones a bit high on UCLA, Christian.
Who else is?
Over under of 7.
For UCLA, okay. Well, Chip Kelly, here's the thing, is as much as I want to hate on Chip Kelly because he did USC dirty for years, he's a good coach. I mean, he was good enough to go to the NFL and fail and come out. Not a lot of coaches can even say that. So at some point, UCLA is going to do better than what they were doing. I have to believe that.
Yep. Then you have Dorian Thompson Robinson, DTR, as your senior quarterback. Man, has time flown by when he was supposed to be the next great UCLA player.
And shout out to him for not transferring. Now, I will say, with the redshirt rule, and I want to say it's 5 games you can play before you can redshirt.
He didn't redshirt, though.
That's what I'm saying is, so this year I could potentially see, let's say for whatever reason UCLA starts 0-5. If I'm DTR, I'm redshirting and transferring. That's just my opinion. That's all I'm going to say.
All right, I think you might have put a little something extra in your wine. Moving on to the defensive side of things. You got Bo Calvert and you got Quentin Lake as the main linebacker and the free safety. I like UCLA's defense this year. That's what's going to get stuff done. DTR on the ground and UCLA's ball hawking defense. Moving right into their schedule, you got the Rainbow Warriors. Hear me out. You know how I forget his name and I feel god awful about this. You know how the Hawaii quarterback died?
Okay.
I personally believe that Hawaii is going to be up at halftime in this game. I think UCLA wins it, but I think Hawaii is going to make this a game in honor of their former quarterback.
Now I got to ask, is UCLA playing at Hawaii? Is it in UCLA? Because if they're going to Hawaii, I could easily...
Yes, it's in the Rose Bowl Stadium.
It's in the Rose Bowl. Okay. Now, any game where UCLA starts down, there's a chance they could come back and make it close. I just don't see it with Hawaii. I mean, when Hawaii had Cole McDonald, yeah, I could see this easily being a close game. But again, I have heard nothing out of Hawaii. I don't know if they can make it a ball game. If it's in Hawaii, a lot of teams play pretty poorly having to travel that far. But if it's in UCLA, I don't see a way the Rainbow Warriors even make this close.
All right. Moving on to the LSU Tigers.
The LSU, them Go Tigers.
The second best team in the state of Louisiana.
UCLA gets a dub, bro. LSU is trash. I'm sorry, they're a great team, but they are so lost at quarterback over there at LSU. Finley's gone. Like, they are. UCLA gets a win, bro. It's literally going to be, you take all 22 positions. Yeah, maybe LSU has 21 of 22, but the quarterback position means a lot. Give me DTR on UCLA over LSU.
All right, so you're telling me you don't trust Max Johnson. You don't trust Miles Brennan.
No. Brennan is awful, bro. He is a awful quarterback. I'm sorry.
I know he's awful, but he's still good enough that LSU can get it done.
As soon as LSU won the national championship, I said in my head, that bought Ed Odron maybe 3 years of goodwill. I think Ed Odron's a great guy. He actually recruited me at College of the Canyons when he was at USC, and he was their defensive line coach, recruited the West Coast, and I thought he was a great guy. LSU is on the way out. Ed Odron is on the way out. That's just my stance. I think he's a great guy. But what happened was Joe Brady. It was not Ed Odron.
Agreed. Moving right into Fresno State, UCLA.
UCLA, baby.
All right, I got 2-1. Stanford, 3-1. Arizona State, 3-2. Arizona, 4-2. Washington, what's that? 5-2? Yeah, 5-3 against Oregon.
I'm 5-2. I think they lose to Washington but beat Arizona State because I think I said UCLA over Arizona State in our first round.
All right, what about Oregon?
They got to lose to Oregon. Now, as I said before, that could potentially be an upset alert game for Oregon. But I can't even think of anyone on UCLA's roster who can block Kevon Thibodeau.
Exactly.
No way.
Utah, UCLA. Colorado, UCLA. USC, rivalry game, USC. And Cal, UCLA. All right. Call me crazy. I like the over.
Yeah, I like the over too. And I like the over especially because, call me crazy, but maybe they beat Oregon. I think there's a couple – I mean, even they beat USC, as much as I hate to say it, but like USC starts out 9-0 or 8-0 before they play UCLA. Maybe UCLA is the one loss on their schedule. I can definitely see that happening.
Moving into the team that you actually are going to be able to carry, and I won't have to do that right now, USC.
Let's go.
All right, you want to talk all about this team really quickly so I don't have to do any work?
I mean, Keaton Slovis is a bad man. He's a bad story. He's a walk-on who beat out JT Daniels, who, if you guys don't know, the Georgia quarterback, he skipped a year of high school because he's a bad man, and he beat him out. I love the story. I hope he's the next great or the first great USC quarterback in the NFL. I know we've had a lot of duds, to come into the league. But you got Keaton Slovis, his running mate Drake London, who went to my high school, Moore Park High School. Who let Chris on the show? Connie, go take your feet pics and get out of here. But Drake London at wide receiver, he's already mocked top 20, potentially top 15 pick. I know his sister, I know his dad. They're a great family, very smart family. Those two guys together, I cannot wait to see them light up the Pac-12. Like, as I mentioned before, the Pac-12 plays a little bit more defense than the Big 12 does. But I cannot wait to see him just completely eviscerate everyone. Keaton Slovis, top 5 pick. I have him going to the Eagles next year to replace Jalen Hurts after he provides a subpar season at best. But those two guys on offense, man, it's just unbelievable. And you talk about the other Drake that we got on defense, on our defensive line, another first-round pick who's going to terrorize the Pac-12. USC is effing loaded. The only thing we're missing is Urban Meyer at head coach. I would honestly love to see Graham Harrell, the head coach. Like, I'm not going to get into the internal politics of USC. We have a new president. She's great for the academic side of things. But I want to see USC win. I'm tired of us being a joke. I'm tired of going into the conversations with my Southern friends and, USC, they're laughing about it. We are the real deal. We are a college football team this year, and I am ready to see it. That's what I got to say. How do you feel about this team, Lynn?
I like it. I think that you guys are going to be a potential double-digit win team, and I'm trying to speed this up a little bit just so we can get through the crappy teams after USC. San Jose State, though, let's just talk about Starkle. I know. USC will beat them, but I love San Jose State's quarterback. We all do.
I love San Jose State too, bro. I was actually going to go there out of high school before I went to junior college because that's where I talked about Ben Kirk going to Colorado. As much as I love San Jose and I'm actually going to be there next week, SC is going to put up 70 points against them. We're going to come out so hot. The things that I've been hearing that USC is on with their offseason workouts, this is a hungry fucking team, man. This is the most hungry I've seen USC in years, and I'm excited.
All right, good to hear. Stanford win, Washington State win, Oregon State win, Colorado win, Utah win, Notre Dame loss, Arizona win. Arizona State, Perry's going to be crying.
Win.
Yep. USC Cal, USC, UCLA, USC, USC, BYU, USC. I have USC getting 11-1 record. I know Christian would much rather see that be a 12-0, but let's be honest, you guys are dropping potentially 1 to 3 games this year.
Because here's the thing, though, is I agree with you. We're more likely an 11-1 team than 12-0. I think we should probably go into the favorite of all of these games. I hope that we drop it in the first 5 weeks as opposed to the last 5 weeks of the season. I think we're good enough to win 12 games, but you're right. If it's between betting on 12-0 and 11-1, I'm putting my money on 11-1. The Pac-12 always drops. We never go undefeated. We fucking hate being in the college football playoff. We're almost allergic to it.
Yep. Moving into another team that's allergic to winning. Utah! All right, just moving a little bit into that team. They have one of the better centers in Nick Ford in the Pac-12, and then their quarterback, Charlie Brewer, is insane. Man can chuck that ball deep.
That is true. I liked the can't remember the last quarterback they had, the dual threat one back in 2019. It was kind of like how Khalil Tate was in Arizona. I mean, he was running all over the field, making all the plays. I know you're a little higher on their current quarterback. For me, Utah lives and breathes by their defensive and offensive line. They always have one of the best O&D lines in the Pac-12, if not the entire country. And that's why I think Utah will always be kind of in the mix for that mid-tier to kind of a top-tier team because, as you know, football is controlled by the offensive and defensive line. You got some big Samoans around. You're going to be pretty good. That's my general view on Utah.
Agreed. All right, just moving right into their schedule. Weber State win. BYU, the holy rivalry. Yeah, not BYU, you suck. All right, yeah, Utah wins that. San Diego State is a win. Washington State is a win. All right, we're starting off 4-0. Over-under was 8.5 wins. We really kind of screwed over. We really have not been liking Utah today, have we, Christian?
We have not.
So they have a very good team, though. USC, loss. Arizona State, loss. Oregon State, win. All right, five wins, yay. UCLA, I believe we gave it to UCLA.
Yeah, I think I agreed on that loss.
Yeah, Stanford. All right, yeah, UCLA. Utah should beat them. That's 6-1. 6-1's not bad. Then you got 7-1 against Arizona. Or wait, hand, I really miscount that bad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh my bad. They're 9-1 at that point. Yep, and then Oregon, Colorado. Ooh, I don't like calling them 10-2 though. I'll say I have them dropping another game in the back. Actually, I'll call them 9-3. I like the over.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, they're a hard team to beat, and also going in and playing Utah. Utah's a weird ass state. It's hard to play there. I like that 9-3. I'm just saying off the bat, I'm really upset about the Pac-12 not scheduling more better out of conference games outside of the Ohio State, Oregon. This is trash. We have no heaters in the preseason. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know why? This is why you don't make, how do we say college football playoff?
I mean, if we're going to 12 teams, then it doesn't matter. But to my knowledge, we're not going 6 teams or 12 teams this year, correct? It's still going to be 4.
Yep. Which means another year, no Pac-12 in it. All right. Moving right into Washington's team.
Fuck you.
You got a nice little senior duo in the backfield of Kamari Pleasant and Sean McGrew, the 2 senior running backs. I like that. I like the idea of having 2 older running backs to carry the load. Then you still got Dylan Morris at quarterback, who's going to be the redshirt sophomore.
Oregon, I kind of feel Washington's is similar to Utah in that they kind of have that Polynesian connect. They're usually a hard team to beat. They're very well-coached team. But as you notice, that you talked about the 2 running backs, same thing with Myles Gaskin and Savon Ahmed that are now on the Miami Dolphins together. They were both at they were both at Washington together, and they were pretty dominant 1-2 punch. Wisconsin is a team Washington is not a team to sleep on. So is Wisconsin in the Big Ten. But Washington's offense, USC, Oregon, Arizona State, Washington, Utah, they're going to be those top teams to beat next year in the Pac-12. I think Washington's probably going to gravitate towards that 4th spot. After I thought Easton was going to be how Washington kind of jettisoned themselves back into that conversation. But, yeah, what's the over-under again on the team totals for Washington?
For Washington, 9.
I'm going under. This has to be an under for us.
Well, let's just look at their schedule. Starting off, you got Corey's alma mater, the best school in the Big Sky, Montana.
Loss.
For Montana, at least.
Yeah.
So, starting off 1-0. But, you were just talking about you want them to schedule more? Washington, Michigan.
I'm giving it to Michigan just because I feel like the chips are pushed to the center this year for Harbaugh. They want to fire him so bad, and he needs a win.
Well, they just did that nice little extension, so I'm giving it to Washington. I'm going to say Harbaugh got a couple more years left to screw around. So they're starting 2-0. Then you got Arkansas State, the team that always does amazing in an NCAA 14 dynasty, but yet somehow can never make it to the national championship. I wonder why.
Kind of that SEC bias they got in the
Arkansas State
14.
Not even. This is Arkansas State, not Arkansas.
No, that's what I'm saying. If you play NCAA 14 and you're one of those G5 schools, the game literally will put a 3-loss SEC team over a 12-win G5 team. I don't know what the game says, but the bias it has towards SEC teams is incredible on that game.
Right, yeah. I don't know why you went to SEC, but yeah. All right, Washington 3-0 on that. Then you got Cal, Washington 4-0, Oregon State 5-0, UCLA 6-0, Arizona 7-0, Stanford 8-0. All right, Oregon 8-0.
I have a UCLA loss, by the way, on that.
Oh, wow. All right. Oregon's a loss. Arizona State should be a win. Then you got Colorado should be a win. Then you got Washington State.
And even though Washington State is a completely inferior team, another team that likes to lose in their rivalry game is Washington. I could see Washington State. I'm not saying it's a win for them, but that is an upset alert for me. I could see Washington having a subpar season and then kind of limping to that rivalry game and just getting a loss right there.
Yeah, you see, I really disagree with you on that. So I'm going to go with the easy over for Washington and the Huskies. What about you? Before we hop into our last team,
I'm going under for the Huskies. Just to reiterate that. Who is our last team on the schedule?
the Cougars of Washington State. Clay Thompson out.
I love Washington State, man. When they had Mike Leach, I know Mike Leach is a little bit of a crazy individual to say the least.
Oh my God, he's my favorite coach of all time.
Of course he is, man. Yeah, he's a memeable coach for sure. But that Gardner Minshew, Luke Falk was that quarterback before him. And then with Mike Leach gone, what's up, Unwrapped? I don't know who is. I don't know. That's Perry. What's up?
That's probably Perry. Let's be honest here. All right, Perry. We already discussed Arizona State. Yeah, have fun crying with the 7-5 record.
But Washington State has to be another team that's an under for me. I cannot even.
6. I don't like the 6 wins. Like, honestly, just let's go talk about that little team they got there for a second. You're being coached by Nick Rolovic.
I'd rather have them being coached by Nick Nurse, to be honest with you.
Oh my God. Although, yeah, you got Jaden DeLaura, true sophomore quarterback. That's gonna be fun.
I don't know much about him, but they're a team right there that needs to be as young as possible. It seems like Ethan, I don't know if you froze there for a second. I can't quite hear you. But, obviously college football is not like the NFL, right? You can't just tank and, get the best pick in the next draft. But, when you are a shitty team in a major conference, the best thing that you can do is start your young players, right? It's the equivalent of the Joe Burrow being for the Cincinnati Bengals and starting right away. Hey, Ethan, good to have you back.
Yeah, my Wi-Fi just glitched out there. But yeah, you know what?
That doesn't say Washington. Oh, what are you saying, Ethan?
Yeah, keep continuing. My bad.
I was just saying, a team like Washington State, I think they're going to be one of those teams where they're going to have a lot of losses early on in the season, and you're going to see some of those younger guys who may be number 2 or 3 on the depth chart take a starting position later in the year because, as much as I hate to say it, when a team is that bad but they're very young, you're better off playing your younger players and trying to get some experience out of them versus, honing in on those seniors who have been there. That's just my opinion.
Like everyone on that starting offense is a senior grad transfer type player, except the quarterback who's a true sophomore. As for the defense, they're all juniors or seniors. So
I feel like you might see a couple younger guys get some more run as they start losing.
For sure. And then just moving right into the schedule. Again, over under 6. I don't like that too much. But, we'll see. Utah State. Win. Portland State. Another win. USC. Lost. Washington State, Utah.
Lost.
Cal. Lost. Oregon State.
Lost.
Stanford.
I got to go lost. I think I had Stanford winning that.
Yeah. BYU. Win.
I'll give them a win.
Yep. All right. You got 3 wins there. And then you got Arizona State, Oregon. 2 losses. Then you got an Arizona win. Then you got a Washington loss. All right. I got 4 wins on that. I love the under here.
I agree. Go on.
Love the under on that. All right. I believe that's it, Christian, for our Pac-12. I mean, we got USC and Washington as the top 2 teams. That's a fun battle.
I agree. I think the Pac-12 championship this year will be one of the more fun ones that we see in recent years. I know Washington kind of spoiled our party last year, so I'd like to see a little bit of redemption and us getting the chance to come back there and enter the college football playoff for the first time. Having USC there would be great. But, I think there's a lot of great players in the Pac-12. You're going to see more than likely Kayvon Thibodeau being that number 1 overall pick unless the quarterback really just shines out this season. Spencer Rattler, Carson Strong, Keaton Slovis, Malik Wills. One of those guys could potentially work themselves into that number 1 slot. But I think the Pac-12 has maybe the most top 5 players in the country out of any division that's in college football this year. So I know you get a lot of bias. I know the games are on super late, but the Pac-12 has a lot of fun games this year. And if you have the ability to, please watch those games. They are a lot of fun.
For sure. All right. Thank you so much for joining me on Saturday Standout, Christian. I really appreciate it. Thank you for filling in for Caleb. I know we'll love to have you back on during the season so we can talk crap about Arizona State and USC.
Of course, brother. Thank you for having me, and have a great night, everyone. I appreciate the time. Thank you.
Of course. You want to shout out your socials?
Follow me on Twitter at Mandalorian McGowan. You can follow me on Instagram at McGowan75 and Scout Pads, which is my business. And also, too, if you're into charity, look up Swim with Heart. They're a great charity here in Southern California, helping disabled children learn life skills through swimming. So that's all I got to plug today. What about you, Ethan?
Just check out my Twitter at Ethan_Carboni. I'll plug my other podcast some other time. All right. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Hopefully, Caleb might be able to join me for the first time in a while. See y'all later.
Have a good night.